Can I have everybody's attention? The county executive is here, so we're going to start. Can you go to the next slide? I'm just going to do 2 slides, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Huang. So this is the agenda for tonight. We're going to have welcome introduction, which myself and Dr. Huang is going to do. Then the county executive is going to go through the operating budget basics. And then we're going to have feedback and questions from the audience with the county exec. And now remember, the way that the U.S. government works is you have to ask. It's basically the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you don't say anything, we probably don't know that you need it. So if you have any kind of questions you need to ask, please stand up, ask the county executive. He's right here. Our county executive has decided to have these budget forums before actually making a decision on the budget so he could hear from the community. So he's here, so you guys please feel free to ask questions today. And then after that, we'll have closing remarks. And as a citizen, your voice do matter. You can attend this budget forum here. And then the next step in the budget forum is the county exec will transmit the budget forum to the county council. You could attend a council public hearing on the budget, on the operating budget. You could also apply to join county board committees and commissions. If you want to email county executive or the county council, you could do that as well. And you could always attend public meetings for any county agencies. So thank you so much. I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Huang. Dr. Huang? Oh, escape. And
Oh, okay, good. 大家好。안녕하세요. And Choboy Toy. That's Vietnamese. If you don't know that. Anyway, on behalf of CCACC, I welcome you to this forum, and then specifically that we wanted to thank County Executive Erkridge to give this opportunity to be able to talk to him face to face and understand what's going to happen, next fiscal year. Okay, and then to get started, right now we're at the CCACC headquarters, second floor, and then that's the, we also occupy the first floor, and then as you can see, we have about 30-some vans traveling around town to provide transportation services. And then 2 buildings down, we just have a new health center facility, 8,000 square feet, and then managed by our director, Kate. And then about 10-15 minutes away, we have another building. That's our academy that we serve children with the daycare, after school, and the summer camps. And then about 15-20 minutes away, around the Cannon area, we have a sports center that in the summer when weather is good, we can play tennis and swim in the outdoor. And then when temperature gets low, we put the bubble on, and then we can have our all-season sports center. And then in addition to the tennis and the swim, and then we can also play the pickleball. And then that center is managed by Mr. Zhixiang Li. And then as you can see, so we actually serve people from very young, 3 or 4 years old, all the way to over 100 years old with our gallery, with our sports center, with our community service center. And then our health center will serve people, young adult, all the way to the seniors. And then we already talked about the academy. And then we have a in-home care and adult daycare to take care of the seniors. So all around, from under 18, we serve about 36%, and then our clients, 35% is between 18 and 64. and then about 64 is 29%. So we pretty even spread it all around people's life cycle. And then for this year, our operating budget is about $18 million. As far as you know, in DC area, it's like a top 3% of all nonprofit organizations. And then we have about 370 active staff, 118 full-time, more than 200 part-time, and we also leverage with more than 800 volunteers. And then we speak Chinese, we speak English, and then we speak Hindi, Korean, Spanish, and then Spanish, and then Vietnamese. And with that, we serve our customers about 60% Asian and 40% non-Asian, talking about diversity. Okay, this is a little commercial for Mr. Erpich. I don't know about you. I tell you that if you are not following him with his weekly update, you're missing a lot. And then if you do, you'll find out how much effort they put in to take care of us and to make us happy. And then it's tremendous of effort. And then I personally totally appreciate that. And then thank you very much. And then we know he doesn't like a water bottle, but then he is forced to use that bottle. But then he got this one much better, pickle jar and recycled it. And then solar energy brewed, and then no gluten, no carb, and then no nuts, and free of everything. So talking about free of everything, what if Montgomery County can be a tax-free county? And then that is not to say, we also probably wanted to see we get 5-star services and then with 100% guarantee. Is that okay? Okay. Whoa, who is that? ChatGPT said our county executive has been feeding a cow to feed all the hungry people. Are you doing it? Not yet, huh? Okay, let's put our hands together and with a loud applause and welcome our county executive, our great leaders.
Thank you. Thank you. Click away.
Okay.
Here. So good evening, everybody. And you know, if we had zero taxes, you wouldn't have anything. Those are great promises. Anyway, so this is our, this is my next to last forum for the community. This will be the 11th one I've done this year. We did forums about the capital budget during the summer. So this is the operating budget now. And so we will have done a dozen of them. My last one's tomorrow night. It's our way of making sure that people know what we're doing in Montgomery County, why we're doing it. Also to hear from you about what do you think we could do differently or what you think we could do better. In this county, like all counties, there are two different budgets. On the right-hand side is a capital budget. And capital budget, I talked about this summer with people. The capital budget is the budget for things, for buildings, for buses, for playgrounds, all the things that are inanimate objects that aren't alive in the county. That's your capital budget. The operating budget is the people budget. These are all the people who work for Montgomery County and all the programs that Montgomery County has to serve you. And so those are in the operating budget. So if we're making a decision, for example, to provide funding for a grant request from CCACC, that's going to come out of the operating budget because we're looking at what we can do to help people manage in Montgomery County. Next, the operating budget We're in the first period now, from September to the end of November. I'm going around listening to people and talking to people. My county departments are starting to submit requests. So the different departments in the county are submitting requests to the county government. I'll tell you now that because of the uncertainty in Washington and because of the not very good president we have right now, it is very uncertain what our revenues are going to be and what support we're going to have for existing programs. And so we're not sure. We're preparing a budget that has both reductions and a budget that allows us to somewhat slightly increase services. And somewhere in between is where we're going to wind up, but we don't know right now where that will be. Between November and January, OMB, which is the county's staff that works on the budget, they'll be reviewing all these requests. And by March 15th, I have to send the budget over to the county council. So we send it over on the 15th of March. At the bottom, all of us, myself and my staff, are going to be looking at the college, the public schools, the park and planning. All of them have to submit their requests then. They're not county agencies. They're not directly creating a budget under me. They're creating their own budgets. And in April to May, the county council will hold public hearings, and they'll make decisions about what they're going to fund, and they approve the budget by the end of May. And we'll be working with the state. Unfortunately, the state's on a different timeline than we are. They finish in the first week of April, and so we're not going to know what we're getting from the state until the first week of April. This is big because this is school funding. This is school construction money. It's programs for environmental programs the county runs. It's money for transportation. All of that we're not going to be sure of until the first week of April, which means we could wind up having to change our budget if the state doesn't send us money that we expected. For many years, funding stays level and about the same. This year could be different. So again, we've got some other headwinds that we have to manage here. This gives you an idea of the Montgomery County's population and how it's changed over time. In 1975, this county was 95% white, 4.5% black, and 0.5% everybody else. Everybody else. Today, and these numbers are a little bit low and a little bit outdated, but the Asian population is about 16%. The black African American population is closer to 20. The Hispanic population is 22%, and the white population has dropped to around 40%. These are real changes in the county. It's a very different place than it was 50 years ago. Not many places have been able to make a transition like ours and maintain the kind of social cohesion that Montgomery County has today. And when I go overseas, I just got back from a trip to China and Japan. We're talking to people about bringing companies over here. We talk about how diverse Montgomery County is. And we tell people that you can go any place in the United States. Somebody could build you a building. Somebody could find you a piece of land. I can do that too. But there are almost no places in this country that are as welcoming and inclusive as Montgomery County is. There aren't counties in this country. We are nationally the most diverse county, ethnically and religiously, in the entire United States. So we're the kind of place that no matter where you come from, if you come here, you will find people that are familiar with your culture, from the food to the religious practices to the cultural practices. This makes us very attractive to people from countries around the world. And you can see the diversity reflected in our workforce. 59% of our county employees are from non-white ethnic groups. That's a very large percentage of the workforce. New hires right now are about 68% coming from the non-white population of the county. And our residents are now 59% non-white. So our county's government is actually starting to look like the county itself. And a lot of places struggle with that. There are a lot of counties where who's in the county government is very different than who lives in the community. In this community, the county government and the community beginning to look the same. So one of my priorities has been closing gaps and focused on health investments. And so you can see the different groups, the African American Health Program, Latino Health Program, the Asian American Health Program, and the Black Physicians Network. This is an important part of the funding that we put out in the community. We learned this during COVID when we were hit with that horrible experience, 2 years of being county executive, not a fun thing to be doing. We turned to our community groups to do more funding and to do more work for them, give them the money, because you all, and this CCACC is an example, you have a deeper reach in your community than the county government does. And so we decided that we would let our nonprofit groups take the lead in making sure they put programs into the community. We could provide the money, because that's something they didn't have, but they could provide the people, which helped us get a better entree with people in the community and a higher level of trust from people in the community. So that worked, and when we got out of COVID, I decided I wanted to keep that. So we still have 7 hubs in Montgomery County, and we continue to use our local partners and our ethnic partners to help deliver services at the community level. In terms of investing in the county, Montgomery Cares gets about almost $18 million. Montgomery Care is a program that provides health insurance to people who don't have it. Your clinic gets support from us. We make sure that because of the laws at the federal level, immigrants who aren't documented can't get health care. Sometimes the health care program that is America's program is too expensive for people. They can't afford to pay for it. And so we actually provide a health care system underneath everything else to serve people who don't have health insurance and can't get health care. We put $2.4 million into Care for Kids. Again, health services for children who otherwise wouldn't have health services. Our mobile clinics are up to 1.1 million. We now have a couple of vehicles to travel around the county and bring medical services to people where they are, rather than making everybody come to one of our clinics. So again, it's helped us reach out deeper into the communities. We've put out $3.5 million for food through our community hubs, and we just put out more, and we expect we're going to have to put out more again in the springtime. And for our countywide initiative, support services for families who are navigating challenges because of immigration status, we have $7 million in there. So this is a lot of money going to make sure that the people who live here have a chance of being able to thrive here, and that's important. We have special populations. We have an Office of Community Partnerships. Yi Shen is here in the back there. He's my liaison, and he, like the other people in the Office of Community Partnerships, work with community groups around the county, particularly the ethnic and religious groups. They take information from those groups back to the county government, and the county government uses those groups to get information out to your communities. And the community liaison, and he's the Asian community liaison, that's the primary role, is to be a conduit between you and the county government, and it works both directions. This is what we've done on affordable housing. You hear a lot of people talk about affordable housing. If you look at the end of the graph, this is when I become county executive. There. 2020 is my first full year as county executive. Look what we've done with affordable housing. We know the challenges that people face in Montgomery County to find a decent place to live at a price they can afford. And we're putting record amounts of money into affordable housing. We work with nonprofit partners primarily, so we can build units that are affordable. We get between 12.5% and 15% of any market development has to be affordable, but not deeply affordable. By deeply affordable, I'm talking about people who make less than $50,000 a year. And there are about 50,000 families in Montgomery County who make less than $50,000 a year. If that's all you make, you can't afford rents in most of Montgomery County, and you certainly can't afford to buy property. So we've been focused on providing support for housing for people who are at the lower incomes and middle incomes in Montgomery County, so they have a chance to stay here, and also build equity. Owning something is a lot better than renting something, but whatever the case, we're trying to make sure that people can get into housing here. In Health and Human Services, I talked to you about Care for Kids. That's a long-term program the county's had. We've increased support for developmentally disabled and adult medical daycare providers because the limits on, I guess it's Medicare and Medicaid, don't provide enough support to the providers to pay for the cost of the services. So the county is helping to supplement people who need those services by providing more money to the providers to help offset the costs that they're not getting reimbursed from the federal government. We have $39 million that goes to help deal with people who are homeless. It is an enormous investment in Montgomery County. We provide temporary shelters. We provide permanent supportive housing. These are major programs, and it's important because this is the only way we can keep people off the street. We can't keep everybody off the street. We still struggle to get enough money to have even more programs. But we do a lot of work to make sure that we get people off the street. If they are on the street, we make sure they've got places to go in the winter, so at least they're not outside when it's freezing cold. And we've been able to do that for the last few years, and we're going to continue to do this work. This is one of the places where the federal government is intent on hurting people. We just found out the federal government's going to cut $8 million from a program that provides housing first for people. So when we get a homeless person, we try to get them into permanent housing, called permanent supportive housing. That $8 million makes it possible for 500 families and about 700 or 800 total members of families to be able to get housing. The federal government's going to cut it off. They're going to reduce it to 30% of what it is today. That would mean the loss of housing units for 500 people in the county. I don't know what the president's thinking. I don't know what his moral compass is, but it's certainly not somebody who cares about other people and feels the responsibility that I feel to make sure that everybody has a home and shelter over their head. Nobody in a modern society, nobody in the richest country in the world should not be able to find shelter. And a president doesn't understand that, really doesn't care very much about what people experience. This is our public safety. We continue to try to grow our staffing. We were down at one point, almost 200 officers. We've improved our recruitment. We've added some special programs. The University of Maryland agreed to give people who go through our training program 60 credits and a degree. We had a requirement that you had to have 60 credits before you become a police officer. So people who decided, I think I want to be a police officer, but didn't have a college education, they would either have to spend 2 to 3 years getting 60 credits and then apply, or they could go to every other county in Virginia and Maryland and get hired now without a degree. So the University of Maryland looked at our training program. They said, your training program is the equivalent of what you would do if you were in college. They're going to give them 60 credits for what they do. So now we'll be able to take people in who don't need to get a degree. They can get their degree here. They get better pay when they get their degree. It also applies to officers who already went through the training. They're going to get 60 credits. So it's good for everybody, and it's going to help us bring more recruits into Montgomery County. We're also changing the laws, get the state to change the laws on marijuana. In the state of Virginia and most other places, if you smoked marijuana last week, but you apply to be a police officer and you're going to be clean after that, you can be hired there. In the state of Maryland, you have to wait 3 years. So we're losing people to all the surrounding jurisdictions because of the idea, these backward ideas by the state of Maryland, certain people in the state of Maryland. The governor's trying to help us, and we need to be on the same footing as Virginia is. We have a real-time intelligence center, and we're using drones in Montgomery County for the first time. The drones have been really helpful. When there's a crime, we put a drone in the air. There are 4 right now. There are going to be a few more, I think, in this next budget. And the drones are able to get to crime scenes before police officers are, because drones just fly over a building. And they're in the downtowns. They're in Silver Spring, they're in Wheaton, they're in Gaithersburg, Germantown area, and they're in Bethesda. And we're going to expand some of them into the East County. And that gets them there first. That means that they often are arriving when the crime is in progress, and they can follow the person who's a suspect. One time they followed the person onto a bus. They told the police. The operator calls and says the person got on a bus. The police went to the next bus stop and took that person off the bus. So it's a good way to support the work that our police officers do. And we're trying to send a message, because I know everybody wants to be safe in your home. Nobody wants to have to worry about, what happens to you when you're walking around downtown Silver Spring or Rio or any of those places. Nobody wants to go home and see their home broken into. We're trying to create the impression and the reality that we're serious about crime. We're putting resources into this to make sure that we can protect our community from people trying to take advantage of you. Next. On transportation, we've got a zero fare policy now for buses. So if you want to go someplace, the bus is free. And we're expanding bus service. We're building a bus rapid transit network. It is slowly starting. It is on Route 29 right now, or Colesville Road. The plan right now is to build the next line is going to run from Wheaton to Rockville. It's going to go from Wheaton Plaza, the metro station there, over to the Rockville metro station, and then over to Montgomery College. That's going to close the north end of the Red Line, so you can get from both stops on the Red Line. And it's eventually, we're going to start construction on it, something that goes from Clarksburg all the way to Bethesda, down 355. And it'll be rapid transit. It'll have its own lane for most of the time, and it'll be able to move people more quickly than you can if you're stuck in a car. We have continued to work on the idea of Vision Zero, which means zero fatalities. It's a struggle. We still have people who get killed. Most of the time, it's somebody running a stop sign, somebody running a stoplight, somebody just not looking for who's in the road and just driving carelessly. And sometimes it's people who drank too much at night and wind up in the middle of the street and not crossing where they should. Everybody's got to play their part. You've got to be responsible as an adult in how you behave. Whether you're walking on the street or driving a car, you need to be responsible, and we've got to drive these numbers down. Our numbers are lower than they were at their peak, but they're still not low enough, and we continue to make more efforts. One of the things you can actually see, if you go to an intersection and you see those little poles sticking out of the ground around an intersection, they're there to square the corner so that a car can't just go up to an intersection and swing around it. They actually have to go straight, and then they have to make a right turn, which forces them to slow down, which makes it safer for pedestrians and means the driver has more responsibility and opportunity to pay attention to what's in front of them on the road. And I just want to show this because I know education is important to you. And this is one of the most important slides because it gives you an idea of what happened to Montgomery County. So this thing doesn't move, does it? Not very far. Okay. I want you to compare these points. The blue line is, the blue lines are county dollars. The black lines are county dollars plus state dollars. And so back in 2010, and this is, numbers are adjusted for inflation. In 2010, we were spending almost $23,500 per pupil. And the county's share of that was $16,806. And then look what happened. State funding dropped and county funding dropped. When I came in over here, we started taking the county share and increasing it again. We are now about $2,400 less now than we were spending in 2010, and combined we're about a little over $1,000 below where we were when you count the state money. This has created major problems in the school system. We should not have gone down in per pupil spending. What it means in a classroom, and I was a classroom teacher, I taught 17 years in Montgomery County in elementary school. I taught 14 years at 4th grade and 3 years at 5th grade. When I started teaching, I had an aide for almost my entire day. And I taught in one of the poorest schools in Montgomery County. And when you have kids who don't speak the language, kids who enter school not knowing English and don't learn it quickly enough and they fall behind, and you have to have 3 different classes in the same 90 minutes that we used to do one class in. And so you're splitting your class into 3 different levels, and that means you only have 30 rather than 90 minutes to teach a lesson. It has impacted learning in the schools. I had an aide. When I started, I had an aide for my entire day. When I stopped teaching in 2006, I was told I had my choice for what 45 minutes. Did I want 45 minutes of math, or did I want 45 minutes of English? That was my aid time. That seriously impacted what was happening in the schools. The schools didn't have enough people working in special education. The number of kids who need special education support has swollen. It's an enormous increase from when I started as a teacher. They never kept pace with the number of teachers they needed as special education teachers. And it's been a real challenge. So I've been trying to get their spending back up to where it's supposed to be. The state's been a little bit better than the county has, but we've got challenges going forward. And I just want people to see that, because when people say the schools aren't like what they used to be, you're right. The schools had more money back then. They were able to do more things with a population that didn't have the challenges that we have today. And it is costing us not to keep pace. It means these kids aren't all getting the education they need. And this is important. They're going to take care of us when we're old. They're going to be the future employees of this county. They're going to help, create a kind of social environment, and they're going to create an economic environment that all of us benefit from. We've got to educate them the right way. It costs money to educate children, and we did not think about this the right way, and we're trying to correct it. But it's a hard road back, because it's a lot of money that we need to spend. Speaking of MCPS, you can't ask me any questions about the school system, because MCPS is completely separate from the county government, except for money. And so they propose a budget. The county has to fund the equivalent of last year's budget plus an inflation adjustment and any increase in enrollment. And that's our choice. That's what we're involved in. We can't tell the school system they need to add a program. We can't tell them we think this is a ridiculous program, you need to get rid of it. We have no say over their programming. So we basically are a funding tool for the school system, but we are not a policy tool for the school system. Our biggest role is what we fund for capital projects, which is the buildings they build. That's where the county has resources, but it's also where we're severely limited. We are at the top of our capacity to raise bond money. Bond money is money you borrow to build capital projects, buildings. And we're at the top of what we need to borrow, what we've been borrowing. The school system asked for $160 million this year for the next 6 years and probably the next 14 years in order to meet the needs of construction in the school system. $160 million is over half of what we're bonding for today in terms of an increase. It's an enormous increase. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do it. So this is a picture of what our budget actually looks like. And this is where all your money goes. So on the right-hand side, the dark blue, and at the bottom, the kind of gray blue, that's 54% of all the county spending goes to the school system, Montgomery College and the public schools. Over half your money. The next biggest chunk is that kind of red chunk or maroon. Thank you. And that one is 800 and, was it 89, 80, I can't see from here. 808, 809. $809 million goes to public safety. That's police, fire, corrections, and courts. So that's public safety. The rest of the budget, all the other programs, are $587 million, and that includes Health and Human Services, which uses up most of that. After that, debt service is $438 million. That's the payments you make for schools and roads over time when you borrow money. This is how we pay for it over time. OPEB pensions are $206 million. That's people's retirement, and that's people's health benefits. And PAYGO is a little bit of money we put into the capital budget every year that we don't borrow. That's county cash. So that's what we do. So that's where your budget dollars go. As you can see, if I have to make changes in the budget, it comes out of that green rest of the budget, because no one is going to cut police and public safety, and no one's going to cut the schools. You have to pay debt service. You have to pay retirement. The only thing you can change is who gets money inside that green area, or raise more money so the green area gets bigger. But if you don't raise more money for the green area to get bigger, then your choices are who gets what piece of the green area. And like I said before, HHS gets most of it. So what are our challenges? The county has more people in need. That's just what we're seeing. Schools cost more than they used to. We have less budget flexibility in terms of where we move money. Inflation has been a problem. It's been a problem for you as individuals. You all are dealing with inflation. Everybody in this country is dealing with inflation. We deal with inflation. I had recommended tax increases. I tried to raise taxes on commercial property and find a way to minimize the impact on residents. I couldn't get that through the council. And if you were, I'll show you a Virginia chart in a minute, then you'll see what I'm talking about. The uncertain job market. The federal government is laying off people. We're estimating we could lose between 10 or 20,000 jobs in Montgomery County. And that matters because those people earn an average of $150,000 a year. So say 20,000 times 150,000 is a lot of money. And we would not have their income tax revenue, which means the county will have less money to operate its budget on. Federal and state funding may change. The state of Maryland is struggling with their resources. We read about that all the time. And the federal government is making all of our jobs harder because they keep cutting programs. And if they cut the programs and we don't have the resources to backfill them, then you lose programs in the community. We've lost environmental money already, transportation money. We've lost housing money. So there are real challenges, and we've got to figure out what to do. They've threatened not to fund Head Start. Head Start is the most effective program for children's education. They've said if we have undocumented immigrant in our Head Start program, then we lose our Head Start money. Again, it is incredible the level of cruelty that these people are willing to go to. And all this pain on us is to give billionaires tax cuts. Any billionaires in this room? Okay, gosh, you guys aren't benefiting from all this. I mean, all the pain and all the cuts that he's putting onto the budgets are coming about just so people can pay less taxes who make billions of dollars. This is insane. It's not like you have a difference of opinion about where to spend money. It's, you know, should I build this or should I build that? This is just about if I'm spending money to help you, then that's money that billionaires have to pay in taxes. And so if I cut you off, then the billionaires can have more money. This is not a healthy place for this country to be in. I've been on this planet 76 years. I've lived in this county for 65 years. Yep. And I've never seen anything like this. This is not the America I grew up in, and it's disturbing. Resident job losses, we lost 14,000 people in employment. Numbers dropped 14,300 between August 24 and August 25. 56,000 county residents were employed by the federal government. As of 2023, we lost 15,100 federal jobs since January. That's a lot of people. October 1st marked the separation of federal employees that took the buyout. So people who took a buyout, their jobs went away October 1st. So we're going to see those people coming on the unemployment rolls unless they're lucky enough to find jobs very quickly. And the total number of local separations is going to take a time for us because people have to be separated long enough to file for unemployment, and then we'll get an idea what the damage is. But the unemployment benefit is horrible. No one's going to live on an unemployment benefit. It is literally hundreds of dollars a month, not enough to live on. I talked about the federal spending reductions, a relocation of federal agencies. They're talking about moving agencies out of the DC area altogether. More costs shifted to the state and local government. The president has said the states should do this, the local government should do this, not the federal government, so they're shifting things to us to do. At the same time, they're not going to shift the money for us to do it. And deportations are really going to affect this county. You cannot go into a restaurant, a retail, or a construction site and not see a whole bunch of Hispanic laborers. They are key in those industries. And the deportations, you haven't seen deportations yet. Don't get complacent and think like, well, what's the big threat? I don't see this. You know, there's no big news stories about us. This is what's going to happen here. ICE had 16 agents for the entire state of Maryland. You're not doing any raids with 16 agents. They are hiring 250 agents. When they have 250 agents, they will have sufficient people to do the kind of raids that you're seeing in Charlotte or Chicago or Los Angeles and these other places, and that's where they're going, and that's what we're worried about. When they hire these people, they're going to start deporting far more people than you see today, and that's going to have an impact on our businesses. It's going to have an impact on construction. It's going to have an impact on economic development. It is going to be a very bad thing for Montgomery County. We are, and always have been, proud of our inclusivity. And we've been very direct in dealing with the administration that we're not backing away from being inclusive. We believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. We think everybody has the right to develop and fulfill their dreams in a country that was built on being the place where people came to fulfill their dreams. So if we can't do that, something's wrong with us. And this county is going to keep doing that no matter what the president does. But if he gets into the deportation thing heavily here, we're not going to have the ability to stop it. If we have no ability to put our people between his officers and the Hispanic community and some of the others he's going to go after, and it is going to be a real loss for this community. And if we lose enough people, it's going to take years to build it back. You know, if a restaurant closes because you lose your Hispanic workers, it's not like there's a pool of unemployed white people out there who are going to take jobs. It's just, there's no way this is going to work the way he thinks it's going to work. It's going to be devastating. And I just try to warn people of that, because don't get complacent. Don't think that he's softened. He hasn't softened one bit. He's just got a long-range plan, and we're still in his sights. This is one of my favorite slides. You all know what inflation is, right? So things cost more today than they cost 10 years ago. So this shows back in 2009, we were spending about $300 million in our capital budget. And if you had just followed inflation, that's the blue line, to buy the same things we bought in 2009, we'd have to have $550 million in the budget. That's 16 years of inflation. Unfortunately, there's this black line. And since 2009, the county has never kept up with inflation. And we've actually been spending less. So right now we're spending $280 million. There's no way that $280 million buys today what it bought 4 years ago. And so all the things we put in the capital budget and say this is what it's going to cost us, we know then that by the time we get to building it, it's going to have inflation. The council has refused to increase the spending in the capital budget. This year, finally, they agreed to go up to 300 million. I just told you the school system's asking for 160 million just to do the school system. Would put them over here. I'm a realist. You cannot pretend when you make budgets. You can't tell people you're going to do stuff and build things and then turn around and not fund it. It just doesn't happen that way. So I'm going to make another effort to get the council to tie capital budgets to inflation. And what I proposed last year was what Fairfax County does. You have that other slide? Is that in here? I hope. This is just, you can get an idea of what costs are. Ride-on buses, doubling price in 10 years. New schools, more than double, from $361 a square foot to $834 a square foot. Fire engines, almost double. And paving a road is up $129,000 per mile. That's just examples of inflation. Go ahead, next one. So this is my favorite slide. So this is taxes in Montgomery County compared to everybody else around you. Just so you know, this is us compared to them. That's Montgomery County. Your tax rate is $1.2.5. This is Frederick County. I hear people say, well, I'm going to go to Frederick County. Their taxes are lower. No, they're not. The taxes are $1.11. That's 9 cents higher than Montgomery County. You could go to Fairfax County. Their taxes are $1.15, almost $1.16. Howard County is beautiful. Their taxes are $1.33. Prince George's County, $1.37. Reston, Virginia, $1.36. Washington, D.C., 85 cents. This is why, and this is what makes us different. In Maryland, our tax rates for residential property and commercial property are the same. And so if I need to raise money, which I would normally try to raise from developers to pay for the cost of the infrastructure they need, I can't do that because I can't raise taxes on them without raising taxes on you. That's true in Frederick. They raised their taxes generally because they had things they needed. It worked for them. But go to Fairfax County. Their residential taxes here, their property tax for commercial property, that's their base property tax. But if you're in Tyson's Corner in Virginia, it goes up to $1.50. So when somebody says businesses are running to Virginia because of lower taxes, not true. They're paying $1.50 over there for what they pay $1.02 over here. They're going there because Virginia took that money, the difference in taxes. They weren't allowed to spend it on schools or food or health. It all had to be spent on infrastructure, primarily transportation. Virginia is killing us on infrastructure. They build projects that we can't even dream of building because they have this extra tax money that comes from the developers. Same thing over in Reston, Virginia. They're almost $1.49 compared to our $1.02. Washington, D.C. Residents only pay 85 cents. If your property is worth more than $10 million, which is almost everything in D.C., it's $1.89. If your property is worth between $5 and $10 million, it's $1.77, which is there. And if your property is worth between $2 million and $5 million, it's $1.66, which would put it right about there. This is how you get this. Taxing the private sector and commercial property makes it possible to get that. And you can go downtown and you see they're still building buildings in downtown Washington. This has not kept them away. You go across the river to go to Tyson's Corner, you see buildings everywhere. That tax rate did not scare them away from Tyson's Corner. And this is what I've been trying to get people to do in Montgomery County. If we don't build infrastructure, we don't even compete with Virginia. If you don't compete, you're not going to get jobs. If you're not going to get jobs, you don't build your tax base. It's a problem. It works next door to us. We ought to be doing the same thing here. So I'm going to make another push on the council to get them to come into the modern world and change our taxes to something that looks like what our competitors do, because it works there, it would work here. And with that, I'll take your questions. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, County Executive. So right now is the question and answer portion. If you have any questions, please line up right behind this gentleman right here. Mark, he's going to be holding the microphone the entire time. If your questions are going to be in Chinese, English, or Chinese, Korean, or Vietnamese, you could ask them, but I would ask that you ask a little bit slower so that our interpreters can jot down notes and then ask the county executive in English. So please feel free to line up. This is your chance to ask the county executive questions.
Thank you. Hi, Executive Director. So I appreciate the transparency in everything shared here. Really appreciate. And also I share the impression that you just mentioned. Last night we just drove from Virginia to Maryland, and we do see the difference of the road condition. So thank you for sharing that. So my question is actually, you know, I work for the public health sector, and CCACC Health Center have been doing a lot of the work, and including the COVID vaccine and all the effort. And I'm very happy to see that our partner, the Black Physician Committee group, they got a lot of funding from the county to just form a lot of service. Very kudos for the county to fund that initiative. But on the other side, I just don't see the same effort or the same support for the Asian American community. When I look at the slides, Asian American, it's a few, like 5 points less than Hispanic speaking population, and for 2% less than African American population. While the health funding that you funded for African American population is 2 times of the Asian community, and Latino health community also get almost 2 times of the Asian population. So that's disheartening. And you know, I've been asking for support and funding from the county and county council. And we also have health disparity program like the hepatitis B program, and have not heard any feedback and any support. So I want to hear from the county and the decision maker what is lacking, and why the Asian Americans' health are not heard. I mean, the need and the cry are not heard.
Because it's not strictly based on population's numbers, has a lot to do with poverty. And there is a world of difference. For example, I'll give you the bluntest number. The average income in Montgomery County, the 2 highest incomes in Montgomery County are white and Asian. The Hispanic and Black community average income, per capita income, is half of the white and Asian population. So we have far more people without insurance. The entire immigrant community and the Hispanic community has no insurance. And so with our limited dollars, they've gone to where the greatest need is. And if I had more dollars, I would raise everybody's more. I'm not happy with where I am right now, but you got to understand this, it comes down to need with limited resources.
Yes, so I want to let you know that day in and day out, we serve the community member. We do have Asian American community member who are homeless, who cannot pay for their health care, and who need a lot of help. And also in the CCACC Health Center, 13% of our service users for Montgomery Cares are actually Hispanic speaking. So that's one thing that we don't want to, just because of the name or because where we stand, we don't get the same support from the county. And also, I also have an additional question. Yes, I would love to hear, and then we can understand more from each other. And another thing is last year, the county soliciting for a grant proposal for vaping cessation from June. And we do also put in a proposal, but that grant proposal literally saying only welcome African American and Hispanic nonprofit to apply for it. But in fact, we know Asian American kids vaping too, and there's a lot of needs.
Can you send me a copy, if you have a copy of the proposal? Because it doesn't make sense to me they would limit who could apply for it.
Right, I'll do that. So would love to maybe have some feedback or let us know what is lacking and why we won't get the support we need.
Look, I think what's lacking is nobody gets the support they need. We're not able to compensate even you use Montgomery Cares, right? You're a clinic. We're not even able to compensate the clinics to the point where their wages are competitive with other jurisdictions. I sent over proposals to the council to increase the compensation levels for everybody. I couldn't get them through the council. So I would put more money there. I had money in the budget to put there last year, but I didn't get support to put it there. But it still comes down at the end of the day, I've got to look at, and they look at the total population of people who are in need, and it is different, it's a different percentage breakdown than the population of just who lives in Montgomery County. And you've got to understand that we're going to distribute it to get to the people who need it and who need it most first. And you're going to have fewer people in a higher income group. There aren't many people who look like me. You don't see any programs for people who look like me up there because the assumption is people like me all have insurance. So why would I expect a program up there for me? I don't. So it's as fair as we can make it with limited resources, but it's not enough for anybody. And I already know what requests I'm going to get from one of the health groups. I already know it's more than I can do, and it may be worse this year because we don't know what the federal government's going to do. But we can talk about it.
Okay, so thank you. And what I'm hearing is the model minority meat is really hurting us. Thank you.
Oh, 我讲 the English, Chinese.
Whichever you prefer.
Oh, okay. Chinese people don't know simultaneously. Okay, I'll just say maybe English. Well, first, thank you very much for the presentation. Actually, it's the first time I've been in a community conversations meeting like this. I think it's very helpful to know that from your clear presentation for me to understand much better where the money comes from and where it has been spent. And I think the county and you have done a great job in help different groups of minorities. So I really appreciate that. As a Chinese American, I feel actually I like the county and I think it's a great place for everybody. I didn't myself experience any discrimination or whatever, so I'm grateful to that. I have a question. I live on West Bar Avenue in Bethesda, and our road is supposed to be, there was a big new development on the street, and then there's a new alignment of the streets and a lot of new development of townhouses and then condos. The density has been going to be greatly increased. And in the master plan, which was put in place in 2016, and then our streets intersection with River Road supposed to be closed once the new road alignment has been finished. That road has been completed 2 years ago, but our road is still hanging there, and then nothing has to be done yet. It's supposed to be done 2 years ago. And then I think there was a little bit opposition from another street in the neighborhood, but I think they already had a lot of chances of expressing their opinions. And there were 3 hearings. One is in 2016. And then I went to the hearing. I spoke at the hearing as well. And I think 11 members of the councilmen, including yourself, already, there's 11 towards 0 votes agreed to for the closure. And then 2023, there were 2 hearings again with the Avery community in our neighborhood, with the other street also well informed and presented. And yeah, and what I mean is that, okay, and also with transportation department, there's another hearing, and also they have a vote, and then to see everybody, express your opinion. We have a 131 for it, and then 28 against the email. So I think because during the deliberation and during the planning stage, there is very thorough consultation with the neighborhood. There is also very good study regarding whether this road should be closed and what's the impact. Our road we have right now 24 families on the street. We're going to get 32 new families after the new development. We have the senior center right across our street.
Question.
My question is, when this road going to be closed? Our neighbor has been there in other meetings like this. We get her to say, oh, we're going to give an announcement very soon. I just want to know when we're going to know the news and when the road is going to be closed. I do not think at this stage is the implementation stage. It is no longer the stage of deliberation to discuss, right?
Actually, no, that's not what our attorney said. Our attorney said it goes to the council for a vote. So we sent them a letter. We gave them the choices. You close the road, but we need you to vote to close the road.
We voted before.
No, the council did not vote to close the road. Putting in the master plan is different than a vote to actually close the road, and that's where it is now. We sent a letter to the council and said, this is what you need to close the road. Give us the vote, we'll close the road.
So we didn't. I thought we
wanna...
had a vote at the master plan stage. I have 11 council members voted yes.
That's not the same thing.
Okay, when they are going to vote?
That I don't know. Our transportation director sent them a letter saying we need you to vote on this. That's what our lawyer says. They needed to vote on it for a road closure, and then it'll be closed.
Okay,
that was our recommendation.
Okay, I hope, thank you very much for that. I hope that's going not to be indefinite, that could be very bureaucratic or keep going.
It's not indefinite. Hopefully they put it on the agenda and do a vote.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, very good talk. So in one of your slides, you have shown that the property tax rate in Montgomery County is the lowest. It's lowest compared to those in other counties. So, however, it has been reported that the population in Montgomery County slightly decreases in recent years. Do you have some possible explanation for that?
Yeah, a couple of things. First place, Fairfax County's population is decreasing also. So both of us are decreasing. The biggest problem in the county has been a lack of jobs. And it's been a lack of jobs that goes back to the recession around 2010, where our economy flattened out. In 2012, Virginia changed its tax structure, went to what I showed you, what was up on the screen. And with that, they started building all these transportation projects in Northern Virginia. And the governor, the legislature there was Republican. both houses. The governor was a Republican. They passed the bill giving Northern Virginia counties the authority to have the taxing districts. And the governor wrote a letter saying, basically predicting what would happen in Tyson's Corner. When you go back and read his letter, everything he said was true. We stagnated. We have not built any transportation in this county at all. I proposed a bus rapid transit system for the county back in 2008. It got put in the master plan around 2012. We have not built a single thing because the council will not raise enough money to build the project, which means they don't want to tax residents. I don't want to tax residents. I suggested using these taxing districts like Virginia did to do exactly what they did. I can't get the votes I need to do that, which is why I want everybody else to understand what goes on here. You can't compete with a place that builds transportation when you sit back and say we're not building anything. And so I'm going to keep pushing. On the bright side, our life sciences industry is actually doing pretty well. AstraZeneca has expanded here. We got the University of Maryland to open up its first graduate level school in Montgomery County, something we didn't have before. And their focus is using AI to help drug companies with drug discoveries and treatments. And they're actually working with AstraZeneca and other drug companies. So there's a path forward for us, but we've got to deal with the ability to move people. If we're not going to move people, Virginia's going to continue to look like a better place to be. And we've got so many things that Virginia doesn't have. This is one thing we have to fix.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is Dan. I moved here since at 2021, and then I'm very proud of your Montgomery County supporting environmental protection. I remember you support our Chinese group to join the environment protection for backyard composition and rainforests. So that's one question from your presentation. The environmental project, do you continue to have budget for that? Yeah. And also that budget is from our taxpayer or is from somewhere? Do you know that?
So it's a combination. We get some money from the state. We were getting some money from the federal government. We haven't seen something recently we were looking for. But we submitted for grants there. Most of the money comes from here. We use part of the energy tax to do funding for that. We have loan programs for individuals. We have a green bank. We're helping businesses change their heating and air conditioning systems over. So we're putting money out as much as we can put out to help individuals and businesses make a transition.
Okay, so before your turn, so all of these projects still continue, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I'm not going to change.
Yeah, second question for that. And you mentioned about deposition and some of the undocumented immigrations. So a lot of the budget sent to the support housing and provide some of the Medicare for those people, but now they really look like it reduced a lot of the population now, right? So they do the deposition. So this money, can you save or you not save?
So I don't think it's going to be as simple as that. I think that the other side of losing people is going to be losing employees, which means we're going to lose businesses. Okay. If you think, just think about the construction sites or the restaurants around here. The back of the house in a restaurant is largely Hispanic, and the construction sites are largely Hispanic. If you shut down construction here and people don't build buildings, that's going to hurt our tax base. Okay. And if I lose incomes from federal employees, it's going to hurt our tax base. If they lose their houses, which is the worst scenario, and there's more houses on the market than buyers, then the property values of houses in the counties are going to go down, which hurts our tax base. So there's no happy ending to this story.
Okay, so compare this, which part you feel important, priority?
Well, my priority is to maintaining the economy and making sure people who want to be here can work.
Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, I got you.
Because I think everything else all the other stuff we do hinges on the ability to support it with the workforce here. If you lose your workforce, it's a lot of people.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your talking tonight.
Thank you.
I have a question about using the limited budget, how to wisely, effectively use the limited budget. I have two examples to share with you. And our community road needed to be repaved every maybe 10 or 15 years.
Right.
And like our community, the road was repaved on the beginning of the pandemic. During that time, the county hired the contract. Actually, they use the material is not very real quality. And what they do things, the machine, the equipment also not working very smoothly. So leave the results after the repave, the road quality even worse than before, not compared with the before. And the smooth things also not even. So the residents just complains. So I think the budget is limited. We need to be very wisely, effectively use our limited budget. The county whether have any monitor system to examine the results of the budget. This question, example number one. Example number two, like our house get a WSSC to replace the water meter. They say this water meter is better than before. Before the water meter reading every 3 months, but the remote reading system was not good. They said after replace the new water meter as a new remote system, it should be getting better work. After replace the water meter a year and a half before, we still could not read water meter remotely. I have to report my water meter reading by myself every month, either through the telephone or internet, or send the pictures of the water meter reading. So the WSSC used the budget, try to upgrade the water meter and the remote reading system, but the problem not resolved. So I just get upset, disappointed.
So if you will give Yi your contact information, Yi's back there. Yi Shen.
Okay, I could.
Okay,
I just
but-
suggest the county budget needed to have a monitor system to see the results.
WSSC is not a county agency. They're an independent agency, which is why if you give Yi your contact information and your address, we will contact WSSC and find out what's going on. And he'll give you a card.
Okay.
So you can reach out to him. As far as the road goes, if you tell us send Yi what your street address is or what your block is, so I can have my people go out and look at it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We actually we have a system now, what's automated sort of. There's cameras on vehicles to go all over the county, and they're now rating the road system much better than we used to do it. If this thing wasn't fixed right, I would like to see it. So please help me, give them the right information, and we'll follow up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm a retired federal employee. Like my age, we have Asian people, Chinese people hired by federal government. The gradually will goes to the retirement. That is still stay in Montgomery County. We love Montgomery County. We pay the tax dollar to Montgomery County. So we would like Montgomery County also pay attention to this particular population. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. Thank you so much for coming to our community tonight. I really appreciate that as a taxpayer of the county. So I saw your message in the slide saying you has nothing to do with MCPS budget at all. I think my impression is like, as taxpayer, I'm not really satisfied with that saying, because as you know, Asian American community, we are very value education. And as a taxpayer, we definitely want the county to actually play a more important roles in saying how you can oversee in MCPS, right? But you obviously already know what is going on with MCC these days. There is a lot of things going on. There is a lot of discussions and conversations, and there is changes here and there. And you know, as county leaders, I really want to find out if we are, as taxpayer, as stakeholder of the MCPS, what are the proper channels we should reflect the question to the county level, right? I mean, you are controlling the budget. You should know how MCPS will spend it. If they are not spending it wisely, we should have the channel to the county levels and reflect those questions, right?
So let me answer that. A couple of things. First of all, the school system is a state agency, not a county agency. So even though it's Montgomery County Public Schools, they're under the State Board of Education. Their Board of Education is under the state. The county has no authority over anything other than giving them money, and the state actually tells us how much money we have to give them, the minimum that we have to give them. So we have no control over that. I cannot change any spending that they're doing. I can't say what I like, and I can't say what I don't like. So we don't have the power to do it. It was set up. So you've got school board members who you elect, who represent you on the school system. No, there's no county council member who represents you regarding the schools. It's not just me. There's no council member who has any role.
Let me rephrase my question. So, do you know anything about what MCPS is doing right now?
It depends what you're talking about. They've given us a huge budget
so
for
whatever number they ask for, you approve it?
Pretty much.
That's not a satisfactory answer.
This is true in the entire state. No county trumps the school system. We don't have to give them all the money. If they ask for it and it doesn't fit.
Okay, so how about this? If they spend money unwisely and they say, okay, this number is too low, can you give me more? Are you going to approve that?
I would have to know what you're talking about specifically.
Okay, in that sense, if we can have some kind of, can you make it higher?
No, if you talk too loud, it's too loud.
So let me get
all right. Are you willing to hear us? For example, we can set a meeting and talk to you what is going on with MCPS. Are you willing to hear us, or only say, okay, I'm away from this?
No, I would talk to people. I talk to people all the time about stuff.
All right. So what's the channel we can?
I don't have questions then. But you have to accept the fact that the county government can't change anything. In fact, even if I didn't like something they did, we're required to spend last year's amount plus an adjustment. I said this before, adjustment for inflation and student growth. That's what we have to give them. And we can go over that, but there's a minimum we have to give them.
All right.
It's frustrating, but it's the way this
So you also
works.
know it's frustrating. It's also frustrating for us too. I mean, as a parent and as a stakeholder, as a taxpayer of this county, and we also feel frustrated how they manage their budget, and then, you know, they are taking no responsibility and accountability. At the end, they still get what they want.
They pretty much do. But it's true in every county in the state of Maryland. Every system, this is set up the way it is.
Well, it doesn't make any sense if the other person do some criminal things, we do the same thing.
No,
right?
You don't confuse criminality for stuff you don't like.
All right.
We're not talking criminality.
I have a second quick question.
Okay.
As a federal employee, I heard you show the number how many federal employees were laid off. But what are the plans or help you actually provide from the county level to help us?
So the county has WorkSource Montgomery has created a whole bunch of programs to help train people for new jobs. So we're working with them to get training. We have the One of the social service agencies is helping people with resume writing and, helping people how to apply for a job. Some people haven't applied for a job in 20 years, don't have resumes and things like that. So we're trying to help people adapt to how they're going to have to find jobs in the new world. We can't make up jobs. We gave some preference to federal employees, but the county government doesn't have very many vacancies. We worked with the school system, and the state worked with the school system to help federal employees transition into the school system without having to have a degree to go through that process. And so it's an accelerated path for people who want to go into teaching actually not just Montgomery County, the entire state. But that's the support we can give.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay. But look up WorkSource Montgomery. One word.
I am a Korean interpreter who was asked to read a Korean attendee's question. Hi, my name is Kwang Lee, and I am the president of Korean American Senior Citizens Association of Maryland, KASCA. We appreciate the county's continued commitment to the welfare and the dignity of our aging population. Now, for more than 4 decades, KASCA has been a vital partner in serving the senior community through senior nutrition program. However, the recent budget reduction over 60% of the fiscal year 2024 level for both fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 2026 has placed an unprecedented strain on our organization's ability to maintain essential services. The current county allocation covers barely 40% of their total. This shortfall directly affects hundreds of older adults in Montgomery County who depend on KASCA's daily meal service. KASCA has already undertaken extensive cost-saving measures. However, these efforts, yes, so the question is, we have a request instead of a question. We respectfully urge the county executive and relevant departments to reconsider the depth of these cuts and to restore at least the fiscal year 2024 funding level for senior meal programs.
I will look at. You've got to give me more information so I can get my folks to. Okay.
Short question is right now, compared with the fiscal year 2024, fiscal year 25 is almost 50% cut.
Yes.
And also this year, fiscal year 26, that's a 64% is cut. I can see your tight budget. I thought all the slot, I can see that. But however, that, for instance, like 36,000 something, compared with our 24 is 100,000. So we can live just 4 months and all dry out. So this is a major problem for us. So I met SMP direct this year, May 22. She didn't give me any good
Who's
answer.
SMP?
Yeah, and not good.
What is SMP?
SMP is the Senior Nutrition Program. And I can give you the name or whatever. But she doesn't give any answer, anything. Why so? She says it's all boundary is cut evenly. I had to believe that. After then, on the top of that, 26 fiscal years budget is almost 60,000 cut compared with physically 25. So that means 64% cut.
I hear you.
Because that's unbelievable. We served all ethnic Korean people, the senior. With that money, we cannot survive. So
when did you hear? Is this year's grant?
Yeah, this is grant.
When did you get notice of this?
Last month, August. Okay. August, yeah, August. Yeah.
I will have my people.
Yeah, I have all the supporting document with me.
Okay.
First of all, I want to say good evening, County Executive and other leaders in this room. I want to say thank you for this opportunity to come out here and speak to you all. My name is Samuel Wilson. I work at the Korean Community Service Center of Greater Washington, also known as KCSC. So for 51 years, we've been serving as a trusted anchor for the immigrant families in Montgomery County and also Fairfax County. And so through direct social services, health services, and family supported programs. And so in 2023, we launched a significant program called the CDC REACH Fund, which is also known as the Racial and Ethnic Approaches to Community Health. And through this program, we were able to work with the local county government in Fairfax County also to try and enhance incentive programs, but also work with community parks to create new maps and also mural paintings in different roads. We're also planning to expand community-led walk audits and micro demonstration projects in Montgomery County also, and directly inform future county planning budget decisions and also built environment improvements. Yeah, so we're going into it. So we plan to, while we appreciate county's investment and funding support, we would like to raise one important area for improvement. When communicating with multiple county departments, including public school parks, transportations, response and coordinations has often been slow and unclear with all of the local county governments. So as a frontline organization, timely communication is critical for us to coordinate, advocate, and mobilize solutions efficiently. So we're wondering if you have any advice for communication with county level governments in Montgomery County and also how that will look in the future.
So I would actually probably have you talk to Yi and give him an idea of what you tried to communicate, what departments, because when I know that, I can have an idea of like, did you go to the wrong people? Did you go to the right people and you didn't get the attention you were supposed to get? But without knowing all that, I can't tell you. But if you'll help get Yi the information, and you know who he is, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, County Executive. Thank you for your talk today. I have a question about the voting ballot in Montgomery County. Do we have the voting ballot in Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean for the current system?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
If it's county, we do things in the county, we do 7 basic languages, but I don't know whether that applies to the Board of Education. I mean, the Board of Elections. But again, we could find that out for you. Okay. If you leave Yi your contact information, the Board of Elections there?
Yi, take one of the mics back there.
He wants to know.
Can you repeat? Oh, sorry.
He wants to know whether ballots are available in other languages.
That's something that's currently under review and discussion. There are many factors that impact what ballots and what languages are used. And if you'll come to my table afterwards, I will give you the information who to talk to at the Board of Elections and how that decision is made and what languages would be considered. So I'll be glad to help you over here, separate from the discussion.
That's my question. Thank you.
Last person.
Yes, thank you so much for being here, County Executive, and also thank you to everyone at all these tables. I know you all are here as well, and we really appreciate it. My name is Michael Jimenez. I live in Rockville, and I'm gay, half Mexican. My husband is a Pakistani American Muslim. We have 2 adopted Latino children. There's not many places in the world where we can exist as a family, and in our country even comfortably. But Montgomery County is one of them, and we're really thankful for that. One thing that makes that possible is the diversity of our community. And I think the linchpin of that in Montgomery County is DHHS. We work with so many nonprofit partners here, including CCACC, and that's how we are able to maintain such a diverse community, because a lot of our communities here that are diverse aren't resource rich, and so we need that support, whether it's Latinos, whether it's the Asian community, whether it's the gay community. And so during your talk, you were talking about how of that pie chart of what you can cut, really it's just that one piece. And that one piece is mostly made up of DHHS's budget. And so I feel like you're setting us up for, a letdown in the upcoming budget. And I know that you were saying you can't really tell what the state's going to do. You don't know what the guy down on Pennsylvania Avenue is going to do. None of us do. But what do you see happening in the upcoming budget as far as DHHS, as far as the nonprofit partner budgets that are all dependent on that budget?
So the year we're in right now, I made a decision to pretend like it was going to be normal. So far, it's worked, and we held our money. We had good reserves. We've got the ability to do some backfilling. I don't know what January has, and it could be really bad. And I feel like you got to be honest about it. It'd be real easy to say everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm worried about it, and I think all of us have to worry about it. We're going to have to think about what we do if things get worse. How do we manage this together? If I have the resources, I would raise things. Like I'm probably the only county executive who's put up multiple tax increases because I know the revenues we have don't meet the needs in the community. And rather than walk away from those needs, I've tried to put more money into the budget. But if I can't get support for that, then I'm limited to what you got last year, what's the effect of inflation, and what are the competing issues I have to deal with. So I'll push things as far as I can push them.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. You want me? I throw the mic at you. That's kidding. Hi, good evening, County Executive. Thank you for coming to the community again. We appreciate that. I have 2 questions quickly. One is that, did you know currently if Montgomery County's voting ballot that have minority language like Chinese, Korean,
That's
and
what he just asked that question.
Okay.
And they're giving him an answer back there.
So that question, sorry, I was distracted. Okay. Second question is that I remember your focus priority is HHS, safety, schools, and all the other items. Economic development seems to be always missing here. And I always have a question that a few years back, Amazon supposed to have headquarters too here. Have you ever envisioned if Amazon's here today with the data center, with all the business, the AI, will we have better tax revenue now?
So Amazon is not doing everything they said they were going to do in Virginia. So it didn't pan out the way everybody thought it was going to pan out. We lost Amazon. Maryland outbid Virginia in terms of money. Amazon was looking for educational programs that would support the high-tech, the part of their business that relies on artificial intelligence, all that stuff. Maryland did not put forward an enhancement of universities, which is what Virginia did. So you've got Virginia Tech and you've got George Mason expanding campuses next to where Amazon is, and Maryland missed that completely. Governor Hogan, thought this was just about money. It turned out to be about more than money. Now we're out there recruiting now for companies, and one of the things that I've told the state is, because there are times when we tried to get people to come here, and when we went to the state and we said we need, we're going to need a grant or something, the state does not put up enough money in Maryland to match what Massachusetts or some of these other places do. So we've been pushing the state to increase the amount of funds they have for economic development so they don't lose competition just because they're not willing to put money. I wouldn't, if it had been Amazon doing a warehouse, I wouldn't have given them a penny. But it would have been worthwhile to do that end of the business would have been fine over here, and we should have supported it more. But you need a governor who understands that somebody who's looking for something other than money.
I have a follow-up question then. I saw you recently, you did have the Asian economic trip. Yeah. Did you see any fruits come out from that? Any plans or maybe using the past experience to build some kind of international business model here in Montgomery County?
So we've got two companies we signed MOUs with. One is a company that manufactures the light medical equipment, like vials and all that kind of stuff. They supply the U.S. market. They're out of China. They're interested in coming here because they know that tariffs make it easier to compete here. So they're interested in coming here. We had another company, it was an association of people who make molds for industrial purposes, and they have lots of American customers. They have no American manufacturing. They have no American service center. And so they're going to come over in March, talk to us about setting up, starting with a service center here, graduating to bringing over parts here so they can service their clients. And they are looking for land in the county where they can eventually build factories, multiple factories for the different mold makers that make different molds. When we went to Japan, where we spent 3 days this last time, we were there the day that Trump came. And we talked to them the day after with a couple of big industrial organizations there. And they said we had arrived at a good time because the Japanese Prime Minister had told Japanese industries they were going to have to make major investments in the United States. So one of the big things we're getting out of that is JETRO, which is this big Japanese agency. They were doing a presentation for North Carolina. North Carolina was in front of a bunch of Japanese businesses saying why you should come to North Carolina. So we're now going to be in contact with them about setting up an opportunity for Montgomery County to go over later this year and do a presentation for Japanese companies about why you should be here, particularly life sciences, because they told us that life sciences companies go to California. And we're like, you actually need to come here, because if your companies want to get a drug in the U.S. market, you got to go through FDA. FDA is here. So we're working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone who came up to ask questions, and thank you so much for everyone who came to the budget forum. I want everybody to give a big round of applause for yourself. And then thank you so much. This is the county exec really appreciate all of your questions, all of your feedback, and all of you for being here. And you know, when he says we do not shy away from diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're the first. This is the first one that we have in multiple languages. We have Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese. So please give a round of applause for all of our interpreters too. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you all.
And if you have earpieces that you borrowed, please return them to this table. Thank you so much.
No obstruye las aceras, ni los estacionamientos, ni las calles, ni las sendas de bicicleta, porque obviamente esto pone en peligro la vida de otras